Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is 2:43 a.m. Let me get my lip balm out. Where did I put it? Here it is. I would love to use my lip gloss, but it is like completely empty at this point. Like literally completely empty. Is there any bit left in there? No, it's empty. I mean, whatever's on the brush, but I need some new lip gloss. Well, I'll order some. Anyway, how are you guys doing? A little bit earlier tonight than usual. Not as early as I had hoped, but it's still a little bit earlier. I took a nap this evening, and little Boo Radley came upstairs with me. Alex was doing a Zoom call. He had said the last time that he was going to do one that it was like the last one ever, but I don't mind. He has fun doing it. It was with Sarah and her two old roommates that live in California, in Los Angeles. And so they all got on a Zoom call together because like when Alex would go out there and visit her, he got to know them really well. So, and that they're actually the two girls that when we went out to LA last January, we hung out with, and we went to Tom Tom one night, and then we went to this like Irish restaurant, the Irish pub, like the second night. So anyway, he did like a Zoom call with them, like late. So I laid down because I didn't really have a whole lot to do, and I was just kind of so relaxed. And little Boo Radley came upstairs with me right afterwards, and he's so sweet. He like lays down and he like turns his head towards my pillow, and then he goes like this. And so we were like staring at each other as I was falling asleep. He's so sweet. So I had a wonderful nap. I'm wide awake now. I again had the most bizarre dreams ever, and woke up into these. They weren't like scary dreams or anything. They were just bizarre and very vivid. I think that's the thing that's weird about my dreams. Maybe it's because I'm thinking a lot about my dreams, and so when I wake up, you know, my dreams are so vivid every time I wake up. But it's honestly like they're real, you know, when I wake up. But anyway, it's nice outside. It says it's 64 degrees, which of course we know that's probably not true, but tomorrow it's supposed to be 80, although we're supposed to have a lot of rain tomorrow. But I'm ready for the nice weather. Let's see what the weather is like right now. It is 54, so it's 10 degrees cooler than it says that it is, or colder outside. It doesn't feel 54. It actually feels a little bit warmer than that. And okay, so it says 79 on Thursday with, oh, it says 20% chance of rain. That's not bad. And then Friday, it was supposed to be 80 tomorrow, but 79 is just as good. And then Friday, 74 with 80% chance of rain. And then Saturday, 77 with 60% chance of rain. And then Sunday, 74 with 80% chance of rain. And then it dips into the 60s. But then it's supposed to be in the 70s and the 80s, so I think we're warm weather going ahead, which is great. I'm going to try to, my goal, we'll see. This is what happens. Okay, so my goal is to maybe not take as many naps in the evening and go to bed a little bit earlier. And then I thought, well, since it's nice, I like to read outside, so I'll start reading outside because I want to start House of Leaves, and I also want to start, I haven't really read a whole lot of Dear Dawn yet. So maybe I'll just like sit outside and read, you know, while Alex is watching TV or something, because he's got so many shows that he watches. And not take a nap, so that then I can like vlog earlier, or just vlog earlier, you know? And then that way I'm going to sleep a little bit earlier. Instead of taking a nap, you know, just go to bed 3 or 4 hours earlier and get up earlier. Then I start my day earlier and get a lot of stuff done. But the thing is that as the day gets later and I start getting tired, I think to myself, what does it matter really what time I get up tomorrow anyway? It doesn't, you know, is kind of how I feel about it, which is stupid. I know I shouldn't think that way, but I do sometimes. But anyway, had a good day today. I don't even know what time I got up, but I made some coffee, and I'm trying to get away from using creamer because I was using creamer all the time, so I'm trying to get away from that. And I made a cup of coffee, and then I put my vlog up. But like you guys know, I've been like rendering it and then uploading it at night. So like I render it like while, last night it was quicker. I don't know why the night before it was like 20 minutes to upload. I have no idea. Oh, I also figured out a little trick after all these months of having a new camera, because this is my new camera that I use. I haven't used my old camera in a while. It's just kind of sitting there on the counter. I can still use it. It just has a cracked screen on it, and I'm not going to pay to get a new screen because it's still usable with the cracked screen. But I have the battery charger from that camera, and I have the battery charger for this camera. Well, I only have one battery charger plugged in, and I don't know why it never occurred to me that I could be charging 2 batteries at the same time. But I did that today, and so I have 3 charged batteries with me. I don't know why that never occurred to me. Last night's vlog, you guys, was over I think it was like 2 hours and 7 minutes. Honest to God, I had no idea. I thought it was gonna be like an hour and 12 minutes or something like that. I had no idea it was gonna be 2 hours. I sometimes kind of like forget what time I start and stuff, you know? I've been listening to, I'll sit in my car and, you know, play games and whatever, and I've been listening to these different channels on Sirius, and right now it's at channel 8, 80s on 8, and it's Man Eater by Hall & Oates, Daryl Hall and John Oates. And then I listened to the 90s on 9, channel 9, In Vogue, Don't Let Go. Oh my God, I love that song so much. And then I listened to 12, which is Z100 New York. It's playing Shawn Mendes, If I Can't Have You. But then I also love 14, Pop 14, The Coffee House, and right now it's playing Chelsea Cutler, Lucky. I don't know that song. But I've been like listening to like the top 15 stations, like the first 15 stations on here. I also go back in and listen to like the 70s at 7, the 60s at 6, on 6, and the 50s on 5. The 50s on 5, I really love that channel. It reminds me so much of my mom. My mom and her friend Diane, they loved to dance to like 50s music. In fact, I remember when we went to Beaver Island when I was like, that was like right before I started 10th grade. My mom and I and her sorority sister, that was like one of her closest friends, not Susie, but like there was like 3 of them that were really close friends. She and her daughter, the 4 of us went to Beaver Island. And I'll tell that story here in just a little bit. But anyway, I remember my mom's friend Diane, who was a year younger than her in high school, and they were best friends their entire life. And Diane lived, she was real fun and kind of crazy and different. I mean, her sleep schedule would match my sleep schedule. I can remember she would come and stay with us in the summers, and like every other summer she would come and stay with us. And I remember, like, I would be up, you know, like waiting for Diane to get up, and I'd be like, Mom, when's Diane gonna, it would be like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and my mom would be like, Diane just always sleeps late, Peter, don't, you know, just let her sleep, she always sleeps late. And she would finally, she would bring a friend with her, and this friend of hers, Mary, and they like both lived on the island. My mom always called it the island. So Beaver Island's actually like an island in upstate Michigan that you take the ferry over from Charlevoix. It's like a standalone island. And Diane worked there, and she was a bartender at Jack's, which was a bar on Beaver Island. And she also, I think, cleaned rooms at this, like, they had like one hotel on the island and stuff. There was like a lot of rental properties, like houses. Like we rented a house when we went up there. It was this little small house, but it was real cute. And so Diane, anyway, this about the music. I remember when we went, Diane like brought this cassette tape of all these songs that she had made, and they were all like 50 songs. And my mom and her were like doing all the dances like out in like the gravel driveway of the house on Beaver Island. It was such a great trip. I remember, so I knew Diane because she would come and visit, you know, when I was a kid growing up. But we very rarely, we only ever once went to go visit her because it was so far up there. My mom had been to visit her a couple times in her life, but I only went up there once. Diane lived in Indianapolis, and then she left here and she went to San Francisco. And her brother Jack lived in San Francisco, who was like my mom had a crush on Jack like his entire life. So anyway, she went to San Francisco to live with Jack, and my mom's friend lived in the Haight-Ashbury and stuff. And then she stayed out there till like probably like the early 70s, and then she moved to the island. She moved to Beaver Island. Her dad, Diane's dad, was a doctor here in Indianapolis, and they were like, my mom always said, she said like he was like one of the richest guys in Indianapolis, but you would never know it, except for like the house they had, and they had like, there was like 6 kids in the family, and he was always like, she's like, you know, we would go over there on the weekends, and he was always like throwing steaks on the grill and all this kind of stuff. Their house is still like in Meridian Kessler, which is a really nice area of Indianapolis. It's like all the old homes, and I always pass like Diane's house. I'm like, oh, there's Diane's house. It's like this beautiful old house, and her parents got divorced after Diane's younger sister graduated from high school, and I can remember my mom said it just like devastated her. And in the divorce, Diane's mother got the house. I think everybody's gone now at this point, but Diane's mother got the house on Beaver Island, because they had like this lake house in Beaver Island they would go to in the summers, where Diane would go in the summers, and my mom would go with her sometimes. And so her mother moved up there to Beaver Island, and that's where Diane lived for the remainder of her life. And I remember, I'm thinking a lot about my mom today. Alex and I were on the back patio, and I said, come out here, I want to, if you didn't watch my Peterisms video, so I have a big project that I'm doing on my Peterisms channel that I'm going to announce here in a couple months. I'm not going to announce it until it's completely done and revealed over my Peterisms channel, and I'm very excited about it. But I'm kind of changing up some like content. I hate that word, I think it's so phony. Changing up some videos over there, and I'm going to do, like, I'm going to continue to do the meditations, but I'm going to change it up a little bit, and I'm going to do some story times and just like days in my life and things like that. Like, you know, like what an actual vlog would really be. I'm probably going to put some of those over there, because I really want to develop my Peterisms channel, because I love that channel. So if you're wanting to see that, just like, you know, 12, 15-minute videos of like a day in my life, or cooking in the kitchen, or, you know, preparing my squirrel table or whatever, you go over there, because that's where I'm going to put those videos. But today I did a story time over there. It was kind of this story time, it kind of morphed. I was actually listening to this song. I thought it was by The National, but it was by this band called the 1975. And when Alex and I were in San Diego with his brother, we went out to dinner. I may have talked about this on here. We went out to dinner the last night. Fufu and his girlfriend took us, Fufu is what we call him, but that's, Alex and his friends gave him that name. But anyway, Juan is his name. Juan and Jesse, they took us out to a really nice restaurant that like overlooked the bay the last night. And on the way home, we were driving home, and Fufu's really into Spotify, and he was playing this song by the 1975 that's called Inside Your Mind. And it's just this really kind of emotional song. And I looked over in the back seat, and Alex was crying, and I was like, are you okay? And he was like, yeah. And we like got back to our hotel room, and like Alex just was like kind of lost it a little bit. And you know, when I first met Alex, like when Alex and I first started dating, Carlos lived in Venezuela at that time, because Carlos was in college in Venezuela. And Carlos graduated from high school here at same place that Alex did. He was a year behind Alex. And then after that, he moved back to Venezuela. to go to business school there, and he lived with Alex's dad in Venezuela. And then, so when I met and started dating Alex, Fufu was 15, getting ready to turn 16. And, you know, like, I would encourage Alex to, like, do stuff with him. I would say, like, you know, he doesn't, like, his dad lives in Venezuela, you know, like, he doesn't, like, you know, and their stepdad at the time was, like, so much older, and I would say, go do stuff, like, you know, take him to a movie and stuff. And so we tried to do stuff like that with Fufu, because he didn't, like, you know, have a lot of people that were, like, you know, he was just, didn't have, like, a lot of, like, guys that were coming and, you know, taking him to movies and, you know, like, just entertaining him. And he was kind of a loner kid, too. He had, like, 3 or 4 friends of his that were in high school. Actually, it's really sad. One of his friends, the week of our wedding, he came to Las Vegas, he was in Venezuela that whole summer visiting his dad and visiting Carlos and Liliana. And so Carlos and Liliana brought Fufu, who at the time was a senior in high school, was he a junior in high school? Maybe? I don't know. To Las Vegas. Because Fufu spoke at our wedding. He like did this he like translated what his mom said, and then he like added this part at the end. It was really amazing. And he's just such a neat guy. So anyway, he, like, that weekend wasn't like really communicating with anybody back in Indianapolis. And one of his friends passed away, I think in a car accident, like that Saturday. And then Fufu came home on Sunday and wasn't, like, didn't talk to anybody because he got in so late and went to school on Monday. And that's how he found out, at school on Monday. It was really tragic. So, I mean, like, when Fufu was in high school, like, you know, I would sit down and I would, like, help him with, like, essays and stuff like that. Like, I helped him with all of his college admission essays. And, you know, Alex and I were, like, the ones that, like, he would go spend the summers with Carlos, you know. And so Carlos was, like, that guy that would be like, come on, you know, I'm gonna teach you how to box. And he would box with him, and he would, like, take him to the beach and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, Carlos is the one that got Fufu to dance and all this kind of stuff, you know. But, like, when he was here during the school year, it was, like, Alex and I, and mostly Alex, and I would really push Alex. I'd be like, go over there, like, you know, take him to go out to eat or do something, you know, like, entertain him, because, like, he needs a male role model in his life. It'd be nice for him to have that, you know. And, he just was kind of a shy kid, which is so funny, because he's totally not now, you know. So we were in San Diego, and, you know, just to see him there and see him with this, he's just so fantastic with Jesse, and they have such a neat relationship and their own apartment, you know, just to see somebody that, I'm sure this is how many parents feel, you know, but just to see somebody that, like, you remember, you know, like, his mom standing there being like, you won't even clean your room, and then he's got this decorated apartment that's, you know, that he and his girlfriend have, like, put stuff together in. And, you know, he's talking about his job and how proud he is of his job, and he's graduated from college and all this kind of stuff. And I looked over at Alex and I said, well, what is it, babe, when we were in the hotel room, you know? And he said, I just feel like I'm missing out on so much of his life, basically. You know, he said, I don't get to see him on a daily basis anymore. I don't get to see him, like, you know, grow into this adult that he's become. And he said, you know, because, like, you know, when Alex and I first started dating, Alex was, like, wanting to go out and all this kind of stuff, and Alex would say, you know, like, when we moved here, like, I was the one that took care of Carlos and, you know, the Fufu, and he was like, so, you know, he didn't want to have to, like, do that well into his, you know, late 20s or whatever. And I think, like, when we were out there, he realized, I think it's why, like, he and Fufu, like, they talk all the time now about music festivals, and they're always talking on the phone. And, I mean, Alex is so close with his family, you know. But, like, he just was like, you know, he's just, I'm so proud of him. And it's just really cool to see that, you know, to see, I was trying to figure it out today. Fufu's going to be 27. I think he's 26. He'll be 27 this year, which is crazy to me. Yeah. Crazy. It feels like it was just like yesterday that they graduated. He and Jesse graduated from college, but I think it was 4 years ago. I think Alex said something to me. He was like, it was 3 years ago or 4 years ago that they graduated, because like some memory came up in his phone. And he was like, I can't believe it was like 3 or 4 years ago. Because Maya was here and we all went together to Ball State. It was a really nice day. It might have been Mother's Day. I don't remember. But anyway, do you know what I totally missed? I just realized this. I totally missed the anniversary of my booktube channel starting. I started my booktube channel on May 11th, 4 years ago. I totally missed it. I think I missed it last year too. But anyway, so I was doing this Peterism story, and I was telling, anyway, while I was doing the Peterism story, and I was telling this, you know, because I was thinking a lot about, that song came on in my car, and I was thinking about that moment, you know, when Alex was like real emotional, and just such a different Alex than the Alex that I met, you know, that he's so in tune with his feelings today and allows himself to feel it, which I just think is so incredible. And you think you can't love somebody any more than you already do, and then you see them allow themselves to be vulnerable, and it makes you love them even more. And Alex has allowed himself to really be vulnerable with me, which is really nice. Which is why I encourage him to like do stuff with Fufu and like, you know, go to the music festival. I want him to enjoy that stuff. I want him to have that relationship with them, you know? I wish I had siblings like that. You know, I think that's why I've like leeched on to Caroline so much recently. But anyway, so I was on the patio, and while I was doing this Peterisms video, you guys are gonna die. It's almost like Kismet. Well, like, while I was doing my drama video today, the cardinal swooped down on my squirrel table and started eating off of it. So I turned the camera around in my drama. So if you go watch my drama video from today, I'm like, oh, what is that song? Dinah Washington, Rockin' Good Way, Brooke Benton. You can see the cardinal in the video. It's like in the first probably 5 minutes of the video. You don't have to watch the rest if you don't want to. But anyway, so when I was out there today filming it, I kept on like hearing the birds right up there. And I've like looked, because I'll go out there like early evening, and I'll like look for where the nest is. And I haven't been able to see it, which is, I don't know why. Because today when I went up there, it was like right, I turned and looked, and it was right there. But I found Mrs. Birdie's nest. I could not believe it. I put it on my Peterisms video. I recorded it on my Peterisms video. And she actually swooped right down in front of me while I was going over to record it. It's high up. It's like 20 feet up. And it's over like, you know, the drain thing. But so anyway, I took Alex outside, and I was showing him the drain, and I just kind of stood there for a minute, and he was like, are you okay? And I said, I'm okay. And he said, what is it, babe? And I said, today's the day that my mom died. She died 12 years ago today. And I don't really get upset like this on it, you know? And I said, I don't know why I'm getting so upset today. And he said, well, it's been a really long time. He was real sweet. You know, he came over and put his arm around me. And he said, it's been a really long time. And I said, it has been a really long time. I said, it feels like it's been a really long time, you know? It feels like it's been a very long time. I think you go through stages. I think there was a very long time where I felt like, it still felt like, I mean, I'm talking years where it felt like this, where I felt like I could answer the phone and she would be there, or like, you know, I would turn a corner and there she would be. I don't ever feel like that anymore. 12 years is a long time. for somebody to be gone, you know? And I think to some degree that was like what it was, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was, you know, I think I've so identified my grief in the last couple years. And I've talked about it, and I've written about it, and I've shared 100 stories and all this kind of stuff. And I think to some degree, like sitting out there on that patio, which forever felt like her patio, but today it felt like mine. And I feel like in some weird way, like, I mean, I'll never let her go completely, but I feel like I let her go. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. It's just, it was the weirdest thing. And you know, like, sometimes, like, you feel like you should be sad, so you try to make yourself sad. It wasn't that today. Like, I kind of caught myself getting emotional, but it wasn't even, like, see how I have my Kleenex out. I wasn't even emotional about that. I was getting emotional about all other kinds of stuff today, you know? Like, I was thinking about the fact that Tanya's son, Nick, graduated from college, you know, this past weekend. She called me and she said, sometime last week, early last week, she said, you know, Nick took his last class. I don't know why this gets me so emotional. I think for her, you know, I think sometimes you feel things deeper for other people than you feel for yourself. And I said, oh my God, Tanya. I said, that's amazing. I said, congratulations. And, she said, yeah, he graduated college. And the kid is so smart. I mean, he got like straight A+. So smart. And, was a Marine, is a Marine, but, you know, was a Marine in the Marines before. And, so then I was talking to her on Mother's Day, you know, because for Mother's Day, I, like, texted, like, everybody that I know that's a mother and wish them happy Mother's Day, but I wanted to talk to Tanya, you know, and so I called her, and we were talking on the phone, and she said, you know, I was supposed to be in Florida right now, and I said, oh, yeah, right, like, it didn't even occur to me that it was, like, the graduation, you know, I had forgotten, and, she said, for Nick's graduation. And I said, oh, Tanya, I'm sorry. And she's like, yeah, I think I care more than he does. I don't feel like life has passed me by. I don't feel like that. I feel like I've lived a great life. Like, I really do. I've had a really, really great life. I'm not ready to go yet. I'm not ready for it to be over. But it just started raining outside. I don't feel like life passed me by, but I definitely feel like we sometimes judge our lives by the lives of others, if that makes sense. Like, we look at other people's lives, and I think to myself, like, it just seems like it was yesterday that, like, Nick, like I said this in the Peterson's video, you know, ran outside and was like, Mom, we were all out there, you know, in a bonfire, and he's like, Mom, can I play my video games? And I mean, he was always like DJ from Roseanne, and, you know, she was like, oh yeah, you know, go ahead. And I can remember, you know, like, being over there when he was a little kid, and Tanya and him would be like, she'd be like, now do the shower, and they would be doing the shower in the kitchen, and she'd be like, now do the lawnmower. We would all do these dances over there, and Tanya would have these big Sunday dinners on Sundays. You know, and I think it's not just about that, it's about, like, this bygone era that's over, you know, like, these people that Tanya and I used to hang out with all the time they're gone, they're not around anymore, you know, not just him. I mean, kids are supposed to grow up and have lives of their own, you know? It's not about that. It's about, I think, this era that, it's gonna stop, hold on. it's about this era, you know, that was like, I don't know, I guess at some point I just thought it would always be that way, you know, that we would all like go to meetings on Tuesday nights and Tanya would make a big pitch in on Sundays, you know, and always have her, you know, her ranch dip. She would make this ranch dip with mayonnaise and ranch powder, and she dipped vegetables and chips in it. It was so good. And, you know, I thought we'd always play cards at the table and sit on the back patio. I don't know. I thought we'd be 70, you know, doing that. And I don't even really know where those people are, you know? And, it's just like one by one they kind of like dropped off. There was like 8 of us. And, it's just Tanya and I. And, you know, as much as we've tried to like recreate and like start new groups to do stuff and whatever, it's hard. I think it's harder when you are older to do that, you know? I don't know. I've been in my head all day today. I don't know what it is. Just thinking about stuff. Like, I'm honestly so ready just to get in the car and just drive around for an hour. I'm so happy when I can do that. And, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that say, just go. Like, what? Nobody's gonna, I'm like such, you know, like, they're like, everybody is out, Peter. It's not like, I know, I'm like, I know, you know, whatever. I only have one more day, I can do it, right? There's a lot of people that can't, so, I think it's harder too with Alex not being here during the day, because at least with him, like, I'll make a video and then I'll go and talk to him for 15 minutes, you know, or, you know, film 2 videos and he and I'll stand out in the back patio or something, you know, and, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's, I hate to say I'm not sad about it being the anniversary of my mom's death, but I mean, in all honesty, it's like, I don't feel like that's what I'm sad about. I feel like it's another marker in my life of how fast life is going. But then, you know, I sit there and I think about that, and I think about, like, today I was thinking a lot about this thing I say about, like, how fast life is going, you know, how fast. And I'm like, it's been 12 years. Like, Alex and I have done a lot in 12 years. We have had friendships with people that have started here and were here for a while, and they moved. I mean, Sarah has moved to California and moved back, you know, in our 12 years. I mean, Alex and I, a lot has happened in 12 years, you know? It's not like it just seems like it was yesterday. It really, it wasn't. It's been like a long time. But sometimes I think it feels like it was just a moment ago. And then I think as you get older, you ask yourself, okay, well, if the last 12 years went that, because it is a moment in time that you can pinpoint, you know, like I always, like when I look back on my life, I think I pinpoint things by like my mom's death, my relationships, when I got sober. Like I kind of look at things like that, you know. I think also maybe my career of working in a treatment program, because that was like a solid piece of time that I worked around the same people. So I think, you know, and then growing up, like I think like then my high school or my like all growing up years all the way till, you know, I moved out and was in college. Maybe that period in between too, but like, you know, like I feel like I've segmented my life into these parts. So I don't know. And then I also guess maybe my like YouTube, being on YouTube, because I always think about that in terms of how many years I've been on YouTube. So But do you do that? Do you segment your life into periods of time that you've... I don't know. It's kind of like the days before my mom's death and the days after my mom's death, to some degree. It's kind of how I look at things, you know? It's like I talked to Caroline today on the phone for a really long time. It didn't even occur to me to mention it to her. Honestly, between the vlog last night and when I talked to Caroline today, I had forgotten, you know? I don't know. It's weird. I will say this, something that happened to me that I don't think I've witnessed happen to a lot of other people. And maybe I'm wrong, but in people that I talk to, I just don't see this. And I didn't see it in my own mother either. Is that when my mom died, some kind of time clock in my head started ticking. And I started realizing, like, your life is like winding down at this point. And I was 35 when my mom died, you know? I was Alex's age. Like, I should not have been at a point in my life where I was like, your life is half over. Like, that was nothing that I should have been thinking. I shouldn't be thinking that now, you know? And yet I do. It's like, I talk all the time on here about, I'll see people on Facebook that are friends of mine, like from high school, that are just having kids. Yeah, I also have friends of mine on Facebook from high school that are having like kids in college and graduating high school and all that too. But like, I also have friends of mine that are in their 40s. I have friends of mine that are older than me that, you know, like are having kids, you know, because their partners are younger or whatever. I mean, hell, Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen just, you know, had kids and they're in their 50s. So, I mean, I'm sure they're not thinking about the next 20 years that their children are going to be growing up as like, oh, I'm going to be dead. You know what I mean? I'm sure they're not thinking that way. I don't know why I think that way. Like, I don't know, like, what I have in my mind. I don't know if it's that I feel like I'm on this time clock or something, you know? And I don't know how to really get rid of it. And it's, most days, I wouldn't say that it's like, I would almost say it slows me down more than speeds me up. It doesn't speed me up to the point where I feel like I have to get all this stuff done, you know? I think it appears that way, and maybe that's how it seems to me some days. I don't know, but like, overall, it's like yesterday, you know, what I was talking about, like, it's made me stop more, you know, and enjoy life and smell the roses versus feel like I need to speed up and get all this stuff done. But I don't know, it's both at the same time, though. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the bigger issue stuff I feel like I have to do, or, you know, like, I already look at things in my life and I think to myself, well, if I really ever wanted this, like, this isn't gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's too late for that now. But is it? It never is, you know? It never is too late. So I go back and forth, just in my head a lot. And this has not helped it. But anyway, back to the Diane thing. I don't even know what got me sidetracked about all that. Talking about my mom's death date today. So Diane would come to visit in the summer. Well, so Diane was my mom's dearest friend, and she died of cancer. She had cancer twice. The first time, she did chemo and, you know, all that. And then the treatments. And it went into remission. And the second time, my mom found out from Diane's mother that Diane had chosen not to fight it. And my mom found out, like, right at the end. And her mom was like, if you want to see her, you should come up to the island. And it was just, my mom wasn't, she was like, I'm not going to go up there. I don't even know how, and I was like, I'll take you up there if you want to go, and she was like, no, I don't, I don't know. I don't know what it was in retrospect. I don't know if she didn't want to face it or what, but, or I think Diane didn't want to see, but maybe that was the first time. I think Diane didn't want to see anybody. I think she was like, I don't want to see any, because my mom didn't talk to her. My mom talked to her mom. And I said, I can remember saying, it's been so long, I don't know. I said something like, well, what did Diane say? And she was like, I don't know, I didn't talk to Diane. Her mom said she doesn't want to talk to anybody. And then the next time I came over here, I came in, and that was probably like a week later. And my mom was sitting on her couch, and she just was sitting. I'll never forget, I walked down, she was sitting here, and she had a cigarette in her hand like this. And I said, Mom? I was like, are you okay? And she just was like, and I remember she looked at me and she said, Diane's gone. And I said, oh my God, Mom, are you okay? And she said, and I'll never forget this, it's like one of the most profound things my mother ever said to me. She said, who now will know my soul? Because she really felt like Diane was her soulmate. She was like the one person her entire life that knew everything about her and knew her and all this kind of stuff. But my mom used to tell this story. So they were like, my mom, I don't know when this would have been. I mean, who knows these stories, anymore. Like, my mom told them to me, but she told me stories that didn't end up being true, so who knows. But, so, Beaver Island's on Lake Michigan, and they have these huge ships up there, these huge shipping ships, but you know what I'm talking about, And, they were, so this would have been when my mom maybe was out of college, I don't know, and she was up there in the summer, and they were at this bar, the only bar on the island, my mom would always say, and these guys, like, dared my mom and Diane that they couldn't, like, row a rowboat, like, past this, like, shipping turn, or something like that, and they were like, have been drinking out there and whatever. And my mom would always be like, oh, we just, been drinking a little bit or whatever. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And so they took these guys up on this bet. I mean, I think about this, in retrospect. My mom would talk about, like, when she was at IU, when she was at Indiana University, she was like, I was one of the only ones that had a car, which is ridiculous to me when I look back on it. That my grandma had no money, that she was in prison for embezzlement. I mean, I'm not joking about that. I'm being serious. And yet my mom had a car, like, I think about that. Like, my aunt had a car too, and, my mom would just feel so bad about that later. She would say, Grandma took the bus everywhere, and both Kathy and I had cars, like, in high school. And, I think my grandma just felt so guilty. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I wish I understood it. I do. But anyway, my mom would say things like, I was the only one that had a car, so all of us girls would want to, like, go to Miami of Ohio to meet up with these cute boys. And so we would drive down on, like, a Friday night at, like, 8 o'clock. She said, 6 or 8 o'clock, and we would drive down there and then stay all night and come back, like, by the next morning before, like, the RAs, like, checked our dorm rooms and stuff. And she said, and I would be like, you would drive the interstates? And she'd say, oh yeah, My mother would not drive an interstate. I don't know that she ever drove an interstate the entire time that I was alive. She was terrified of it. She would take side roads to get to places other than take even, like, a major road, And if you live in Indianapolis, my mother considered Meridian and Keystone major roads, and not now, back then, when they were just, whatever, 2-way, 4-way, highways kind of things. But anyway, I think of this fearless mom of when she was younger, and I sometimes wonder, like, what changed her. she would always say that she became so dependent on my dad that then when my dad left, she was full of fear and she didn't know how to take care of herself anymore. That's what my mom always said, but I don't know. Because my dad said my mom was always like that, but so she told a story, like they went to go row this rowboat out, right? I remember she would start laughing, then she'd say, it's really not funny. Like, I shouldn't be telling you this story because you shouldn't do this with your friends. Like, we were going to go to Michigan and row a boat, you know? So it was this channel. It was a shipping channel. That's what it was called. And so she went up there, or they went out there on the lake, and it's, you know, like 3 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black. They can't see anything. It's foggy out in the lake. And they're, like, rowing, and it's completely silent, right? And all of a sudden, my mom's, like, looking at Diane, and Diane's eyes are getting like this. And my mom, like, turns around, and, like, this huge ship is, like, literally coming right for them. And my mom's like, row, Diane, row! And they started, like, rowing like crazy, you know? My mom also, when she moved back here from Bloomington, and she started teaching, because my mom was a teacher early on, and Diane, I don't know when this would have been, because maybe Diane lived here for a couple years before she went to San Francisco, but I didn't think so. Maybe she was home, I don't know. But my mom went to the south side of Indianapolis, and at the time she was living like in central Indianapolis, like Indianapolis, south side is like probably a half an hour away. And she bought like an old MG, you know, like, so I don't know what year this would have been, but anyway. She didn't know how to drive stick shift. And so her and Diane got in this car, and my mom said, she swore that she taught herself how to drive. She like read some manual on it, and she taught herself how to drive stick on the way back. And I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, we literally the whole time were like, she's like, but you know what? By the time that I got back to my apartment, I knew how to drive stick shift. It's so hot in this car. So we all went up to Beaver Island this one summer. Remember, we stayed in this little house, and it was like you went down this road and you get out, and it was like this just like gravel little driveway there, and then it was this huge tree that had this tire swing in it. And I actually included this in my book that I wrote. And then the house was to the right. It was like this little like clapboard white house. It was real small. Like you walked in, and it had like a little sitting area to the right with like where you could play card tables and stuff. And then it had like a bedroom to the right, and then a bedroom to the left, and then like a bathroom and stuff. It was just a little house. And I remember my mom said it was like, we were there for like 10 days, and it was like $400 for the whole thing. And it was right on the corner of the beach was like on this corner, so you could like walk like this. And it was the most pristine area. I mean, like the water was crystal clear. And, you know, it would have like, we would go swimming every day out in the lake. And it was like sand dunes for like a mile out. Like Michigan is famous for having sand dunes, you know, in the water where, you know, like it goes real deep, and then you can like, so we could just keep on walking and walking and walking. It was so fun. I remember we grilled out and stuff, and Diane came over one night, and she picked us up. That was the night they were like dancing to the music in the car, and she said, come on, we're gonna go do this thing, and we're gonna go see the sunset. And we're like, what? And she's like, yeah, like everybody does it every single night. And we're like, people do it every single night. And so we started getting to the other side of the island, you know, to see the sunset. And people were, I mean, it was tons of people walking on the side of the roads. And I remember Diane said that, like, you're supposed to drive down the middle of the road because you weren't supposed to dust anybody. Every time I do this, I have to raise my hands up so you can see this hand too. See, so it's not just one. You're not supposed to dust anybody, right? With the dust from the road. And I remember we got to the other side of the island, and it was just like, it was hundreds of people just sitting there to watch the sunset. And it was gorgeous. You could just see it just sink right into Lake Michigan. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen before, you know? And just to think that people come to the side of the island every day just to see the sunset. I just love that. I love that so much, you know? There is something miraculous about seeing a sunset and, you know, like me in the mornings, like seeing a sunrise. So there is something very cool about it. I will say that, to see the day start, you know? And to see the animals come out and the birds start chirping. There's something very incredible about that. I swear I thought I saw something run down that street. And then, one night, my mom, she and Diana went to the bar. And I remember my mom came back and she wanted to go swimming in the lake late at night. And, oh, such a mess. She was so wasted. And she took her contacts out. My mom had my mom for years wore, like hard lenses or whatever you call them. Where you had to like clean them in the special things and everything. She took them out and laid them on this rock on the beach. Think that one through. So then the next day, this was towards kind of the end of our trip, but my mom's other friend, she didn't go. She like stayed back and babysat us. I think she was kind of a little frustrated with the whole situation. But maybe not. I don't know. She was like, when I was growing up, I was just as close with her as I was with like Susie. If not more so, because she and her daughters lived here in Indianapolis, and she got divorced too. So we were always with them. Like they always came over to our house, and her, you know, daughters were always over. We were always eating dinner together and stuff like that. I remember like they were sorority sisters, and they were like diehard, like really, really good friends for 20, 30 years, you know? And I remember, like, she's kind of gone through her own stuff a lot. And she lives in another state now. But I remember she came to visit when my mom was sick in the hospital. And it was like a couple days. It was like 2 days before my mom passed away. And she came up there. And I was like, it was so great to see her, you know? She was my childhood. She gave me To Kill a Mockingbird, you know? Such a great-hearted woman. But I remember we were standing in the hospital room, and they asked her, they said, now, how do you know her? And I remember, this is where I think sometimes we have to be very careful about the words, you know, that we say to even our very close loved ones. She said, we were divorced mothers together. And I sat there and I thought, I don't know why, like it really hurt me that she reduced in that moment. I don't think she probably meant anything about it. I don't know, or maybe it's how perception she had of her own life or something. But I thought to reduce this like 30-year friendship to 40-year friendship, you know, to we were divorced mothers together. Like, I remember just looking at her thinking, is that all you thought it was? And you know what's interesting is that, like, if my mom had been like out of a coma, if she had been coherent, she would have looked at her and said, my mother was that person. She was that direct with you. She would have looked at her and said, is that really all you thought it was? Like, I guess I was mistaken that I thought it was more, you know? I think that is one thing I have inherited from my mother, is that I think that sometimes just because I talk to somebody or we laugh together or you know, you develop some kind of relationship, whatever that means, you know, and share some jokes, you know, and have some good times. I think sometimes maybe I think it means more than it does. I remember, like, you know, the people that I worked with, it was like, I tried to keep up some of those friendships, and it was like, after, like, we all left work, it was like I would call them and we would talk, you know, for a little while, but, like, you think you spend 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week with some of these people, you know, for 10, 13 years, 12 years, even 5 years, some of these people, you know. Actually, what's interesting is the person that I am the closest with to this day that is the person that I worked with the shortest amount of time. And that was, you know, Erin's friend that I saw at her Halloween party. Well, I saw at the last 2 Halloween parties. She and I talk, you know, quite a bit. And she was directly under me. So, like, you know, she reported to me, but we were pretty close. But she worked there the shortest amount of time with me. And even I think other people, it's like, did we really ever have a friendship? I guess I thought we ate lunch together 5 days a week and talked on the phone at nights, and I came to your wedding, and you know what I mean? Like, arranged baby showers, and I guess I thought we were friends. Maybe we weren't. I don't know. Like, what do you call a friendship then, you know? I remember during that trip, I thought it was another trip, but I keep on going back and forth in my head because I can see her, like, there. My mom's friend, this is the friend that came and said, we were divorced mothers together, that we went to Beaver Island. And she said, I remember she was a great cook, but, like, a funny cook. Like, she was great at, like, whipping up, like, I know this is gonna sound corny, but, like, you know, like a lunch that you would, like, so we played tennis and stuff together a lot, all of us, right? Or we would go to, like, a picnic and stuff. She's always wanted to do outside stuff. I can remember when I was growing up as a kid. And she was great at, like, packing lunches. Like, she'd make these incredible sandwiches, you know, and, like, this is, like, I mean, you have to think about it. This is when I was a kid, so this is 30 plus years ago, you know? Shit, 35 years ago, 40 years ago. And she would literally make, like, sandwiches on, like that special bread, that focaccia bread, you know? And, like, all different kinds of stuff in it. And she would, you know, have, like, just amazing sides and all this kind of stuff, you know, and these bag lunches. I can remember she would just make she would have, like, the cool, or she'd make some huge salad that just was so delicious, you know? And I remember one of the things that she would do that we had every morning while we were there. And we also went, like, one year, we went skiing. We stayed in this, like, ski condo lodge. I don't know where we would have gone to do that. I don't remember what trip this was. But I do remember her doing it there. And that would have been the first time that she did it. And then we also did it in this trip. But she would take bagels. I think I talked about this on here not too long ago. And she would toast them in the toaster. And then she would put tons of butter over them. And I used to think that I think she put the cream cheese on them, but maybe she put the cream cheese on last when it, like, and left it cold and kind of hard. But then she would take them and she would wrap them in tinfoil and she would put them in the oven for like 3 to 4 minutes. They were so good. I'll always remember that she made the most amazing bagels, and we would have those every morning with, like, orange juice and stuff. I've been drinking a lot of hot coffee recently at home. I know people say that the Keurig doesn't really make that great of coffee, but I think it makes pretty good coffee. I like it. I can't believe I've gone through as many of those Keurig cups as I have. Like, we have gone through boxes and boxes of those cups. Like, it's almost unbelievable at this point. And I still have quite a few left. It's gonna stop. Hold on a second. I ended up buying, because I didn't know how long I was like, you know, kind of freaked that we would run out of coffee, because Alex started drinking a lot of coffee. So I bought a Dunkin' Donuts big size of the K-Cups, and then I also bought a Dunkin' Donuts big size of just coffee to make like a pot of coffee. And that was like a month and a half ago or something like that, right? But when I started drinking that toasted graham coffee every single day, and I really, really enjoyed it, I ordered on Amazon, I think 60 K-Cups. It was 6 boxes of 10 K-Cups each. And it was super cheap. I couldn't believe how cheap it was. It was a lot cheaper than if you went to the grocery store. And I still have 4 boxes left in the garage. Because I just brought another box inside. So, and that was like, and then I'd already gone through a box in the garage. And today I had glazed donut by Krispy Kreme. It was pretty good. I kind of am liking the flavored coffees. I go kind of in and out of that. Like, sometimes I love flavored coffee and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just want a really strong hot cup of coffee, you know, like strong black cup of coffee. I just love that, you know, not even any like sugar in it or anything. But usually I put like 1 sweetener package in it is what I put. But I have been really enjoying hot coffee, like when I get up in the morning. I don't know what it is. I do miss my iced coffee from Starbucks, and I can tell you, once I can go back out there and drive again, I am gonna get, I can go out there now and get a Starbucks if I wanted to, but I'm just, you know, I don't know what it is. Maybe that'll be my little treat to myself of escape. You know, it's funny, at the time, I remember that whole trip that we took to Beaver Island from the beginning to the end. So if I would have just turned, well, wait a second. So if I turned 18 when I graduated from high school, that means I would have turned 17 after my junior year. And I would have turned 16 after my sophomore year, which means I would have turned 15 after my, okay, so I was 15 at the time. So I was 15, and her daughter was like 4 years younger than me. No, she wasn't that much younger than me. 3 years younger than her. One daughter was a year or two older than me. 2 years older than me, I think. So she would have been 17, maybe 3 years older. Her other daughter was 3 years younger. 15, made her 12. Yeah. And I remember she drove, like, so she drove the whole way up there. And she had this Bronco. And I remember, like, they had that pull-out ashtray. Do you guys remember that, with the push-button lighter in it? And she and my mother smoked the entire time with the windows all the way up. I remember she smoked, because this is so strange. I don't know how I just remember this, but when I started smoking, this was one of the first brands I ever smoked. She smoked Benson & Hedges 100 Deluxe, Deluxe Ultralight 100s or whatever. That came in that real fancy box, because I smoked those for a really long time. Do they still even make those anymore? I went through a period where I smoked Benson & Hedges. Probably because of that. I always thought the pack was so cool. But anyway, and I remember I had bought this tape cassette. It was like a book and a tape that came together. And it was like, is Elvis alive? And her daughter and I sat in the back seat the whole time. I mean, this was a 9-hour drive, okay? We sat up in the back seat the whole time, and we, I don't know what this means when it says restoring driver in one settings, but I hate when it does that. And we, like, tried to solve this case. We, like, so believed that Elvis was alive, and we were, like, looking for him in gas stations and stuff on the way up there. It was so funny. And then I remember we stopped like halfway. I don't know where it was. Like, we like left one night and we like drove halfway. Then we got up the next day and drove the other half the way and took the ferry over. So we like, okay, so like one day we left at like, let's say 4 in the afternoon. And so we drove up there and we ended up stopping at this hotel. And it was just like, I don't know, some shit hotel. But it had this like, I remember it had this indoor pool. and we went swimming in this indoor pool, like all of us. And then I remember like we came back and like put our like pajamas on and like walked across the street to this pizza joint. It's so fun looking back on that. It was such, I mean, I didn't know that at the time. I think that's the thing, like, that you have to really, really live your life in the moment, because you don't know until looking back what a great moment it was gonna be. You know what I mean? And you just have to make the most of it. And I remember like, this hotel was just like out in the middle of nowhere, like off the interstate. And I remember we like walked across the street to like this pizza place, the four of us, like in our pajamas, you know, or sweats or whatever we had on. Okay, the battery died right while I was in the middle of my story. Anyway, I remember we like put on our pajamas and we like walked over to this pizza place and we all sat there and ate, you know, this pizza. But then we like got up the next day and, God, it's so hot in here. And we left early, like, you know, probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 or something. And we drove the rest of the way to Charlevoix. And then we took the ferry over from Charlevoix to Beaver Island. You, like, load your car and everything on there. Like, you drive underneath and you put your car on there. And then you stand on top. And the ferry ride, it was long. It wasn't like, I should look it up and see. I mean, it felt like it was like over an hour. How long is ferry ride from Charlevoix? Oh, got it. Pulled it up right away. To Beaver Island. 2 hours. The trip to Beaver Island takes a little over 2 hours to complete the 32-mile route. Passengers must be on board 10 minutes prior to departure. Please note that if you have a reservation to bring your vehicle on the ferry, your check-in time is 90 minutes prior to boat departure. Charlevoix is a really cute city, by the way. If you've never been, it's, you know, on the lake. It's really cute. So we took the, you know, I want to see if, like, Jack's Bar is still on Beaver Island, because that's what the, and I can't remember what the hotel was called. Beaver Island Hotel. Let's see what it says. Beaver Island Hotels. Maybe Emerald Isle View, but I don't think that's what it was called. There's 7 hotels. I think it was Emerald Isle Hotel. Huh. Would it not be so funny if I could find the exact place that we rented on here? If I look up Jack's, if I look this up, and it's, I think the bar was called Jack's Bars and Grills. Oh, no, it was the Shamrock. It was the Shamrock. That's what the bar was called that Diane worked at. I pulled it up. It was the second bar, the Shamrock Bar and Restaurant. That was where that's where Diane worked. That is so crazy. Shamrock Bar and Restaurant. God, it's so funny. Let's see if I look at it, if it pulls up any memories. No. God, that's so weird to think that she worked there for so long. Anyway. But I remember the whole way over on the ferry, like, that was the summer that I started listening to a lot of my mom's music. Like, I always had, but that was the summer that I started listening to, like, Arlo Guthrie and Fleetwood Mac, but really older folk music. Judy Collins, Joni Mitchell, the Mamas and the Papas, Mama Cass, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, that concert for Bangladesh that had, you know, like Bob Dylan and Neil Young and Ravi Shankar on it. So I was real into all of Janis Joplin, huge, that summer. I was really into all of that music. And I like really into, like, you know, the string bracelets and all that, kind of the beaded bracelets and all that stuff. And I remember I listened to the tape, the Bob Dylan tape. I don't know which tape it was, Greatest Hits or something, but it had Mr. Tambourine Man on it. This is so weird how this kind of came full circle. I didn't even mean to end up here. It's really weird tonight. I was outside talking to Alex, and I said, I'm really, like, you know, like today, I said, today was the day that my mom passed away, you know? We were talking for a second, and I walked inside, and my phone was by my computer inside. We'd literally been outside probably 60 seconds total, between me showing him the birds and starting to cry and him coming over. You know, it was like maybe a minute and a half. And I walked back inside, and my phone had pulled up a memory, and it was a picture of Pee-Pee sleeping in the bed. And I said to Alex, I said, maybe that's a sign from my mom. And he said, yeah, maybe. He doesn't believe in all that. But, this is so funny where this ends up. This whole thing. Because I was thinking about this earlier, actually. So, the whole ride over there, my mom, I actually have a picture somewhere. I have no idea where the picture is, but I know it exists because she used to have it like on a refrigerator or like in a frame or something. I took all the pictures that she had in frames. I took them all out. And most of the frames I got rid of because they were so like old and stuff, but some of them I kept. But it was a picture of me like standing, like looking out over Lake Michigan with these, like, you know, my earphones in. And I remember I listened to Mr. Tambourine Man like the entire way. Like just repeat. And it just was such a song of like freedom for me. And I remember the night that my mom passed away. It's funny because in that blog post, I said it was the song Chimes of, what is the song? Chimes of Freedom? Is that what the song is called? I can never remember. It was my mom's all-time favorite Bob Dylan song. Chimes of Freedom. She loved that song. Isn't that so funny? I remember listening to that song the whole way over Beaver Island. That was such a great trip. I should look it up and see if Beaver Island Rentals, if it comes up. I'm sure there's some amazing houses there now, but it was such a great little house. We had such a great time there. It's just so funny because I do remember that my mom went through, or my mom's friend went through. Oh, here you can go through Verbo. Somebody said, how many vacation rentals are available around Beaver Island, Michigan? This is on Verbo, or via RBO. Our 2020 property listings offer a large selection of 47 vacation rentals around Beaver Island, from 13 cabin rentals to 25 house rentals. It probably won't pull up anything because of the COVID, you know? Well, that wasn't it. These are a little bit larger than what I remember us having. No. Yeah, some of these are really nice. Oh my god, I think I found it. No, this can't be it. If it's on a lake, it's it. No. It was small. And it was literally like right on the lake. It was real small. And I think they went through like a rental company. I bet my mom has it still in the basement. I bet I could find it. Or she had it in the basement. I bet I've never thrown it away. Now this one is like the backyard looks like what it was on, but that's not it. God, there's some adorable places here. Oh my god. Oh, here's one that has an in-ground pool. $245 a night. Oh my god, it's decorated so adorably. Well, kind of. Well, kind of. Yeah, I remember it being like really, really small. I don't know why I remember it being like... I mean, I guess I could have torn it down too and built something in its place or added on, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't remember the house having like a deck like that. All the ones that are on the beach are a lot more, but God, they have some big ones. Could it have been a little cabin? They have a lot of log cabins. See, these have all been upgraded. I mean, it has been so long since I was there that I'm sure none of these places look even remotely the same as they did before. Now, this kind of does really look like it. Oh, this is a little house. Oh, if this is it, they had to have done a complete rehaul on this place. But it could have been. The beach and stuff looks like it. I'm never gonna find it. I know we weren't. This is like truly like a log cabin. I know it wasn't like that. I don't know. Makes you wonder though, doesn't it? I wonder why that memory is today, the memory that's coming up. Do you ever wonder that? Like, why certain memories come to you on certain days? You know what I mean? I wonder why that's the memory that I'm thinking of today. I don't know. This is $151 a night, and it's beautiful. It's a big A-frame house everywhere around. It's got like these big lights, or big windows. Looks like a cabin in Gatlin. Oh, stained glass windows. It's gorgeous. Huge master bedroom. I'd be almost kind of like horror movie scared there a little bit. It's beautiful. Oh, it's right on the lake. Oh my God, $151 a night. Oh, there's 47 pages, you guys. I can't possibly be going through all these 47 pages for you. Although I would love to. But anyway, or was that all of them? Oh no, that was all 47 of them that I just went through. You know, I think this is kind of what's sad too, is it's like, I know people probably be like, well, you should go up there and you should visit. Sometimes it's like, I don't have anybody to visit there. Nobody would remember me anyway. You know what I mean? And there's so many places that I want to go that, as much as I have like great memories of that, that's probably not a place that I would go. And a 9-hour drive plus a 2-hour ferry ride. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. There's other places I'd like to go. I don't think we're going anywhere anytime soon, so to worry about that. So I stopped the camera because I started to tell a very funny story about Tanya and I. But then I thought, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't tell this story. So I'll just leave that for Tanya and I. And then I was going to go in and I was going to read a bunch of comments, but I realized that it was 4 o'clock. So I was like, I think instead I'm going to get off here and I am going to listen to my audiobook. I'm trying to finish this audiobook, The In-Between, which isn't horrible. It's not the best book that I've ever read, but it's not horrible by any means, especially if you like science fiction. It's like mild science fiction. it's kind of trying to be a Blake Crouch book, if that makes sense, but it's not. And what I mean by that is that it's kind of like combining science fiction concepts, so like the idea of teleportation and the future, with like an emotional storyline, or like this kind of whodunit kind of thing. So there's all of that combined, and this mystery and intrigue, and trying to figure out like the story behind the story, but at the same time there's like these interpersonal relationships that's all mixed together with science fiction. So I don't know, I don't read deep science fiction, but that's very much how Blake Crouch does it. And he takes these high concept kind of things, like quantum physics and things like that, and he dumbs them down for somebody like me that doesn't understand that stuff, but he makes it part of the book. And that's kind of what the in-between is, but not, I don't know, right now, I'm kind of like, my opinion could greatly change about this book. Like, it really could go into another direction and be like this phenomenal book. It's all going to depend on how it ends. I have 2.5 hours left of the book, so I should be able to tell you that in the next 24 hours or whatever. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna get off here now. So, thank you. Anyway, if you made it this far, please give this video a big thumbs up. But just one. You can only give it one thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up, and please make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. Not just this one, but all of them. It really means a lot to me when you guys thumb up my videos and like it. Not just on this channel, but all of them. Please check out my Peterisms channel. It's going to be changing a little bit over there, so I'm very excited about that. And but I won't be stopping the meditations. I'm just going to be adding stuff to it as well. So it'll be a new exciting change. And I did a story time over there today. If you want to watch it, it was called Do This For Me, basically, meaning hug your mom or call your mom up, or please do this, I think it was called Do This For Me. But anyway, yeah, so if you made it this far, thank you. I love you. And give this video a thumbs up, and also make sure that you're subscribed to all my channels. Leave a blue heart for the Wolf Pack. That's all of us over here that watch all my videos, and we hang out all together, and all that good stuff. And it is so hot in this car. Whoo! The cookies are done. And make sure to leave, colorful emojis. Actually, let me pick something today. I'm going to do yellow hearts for all the essential workers and the frontline workers out there. So that when they come through, they'll see like all the yellow hearts, and they'll know that that's for them. And what else? I'm trying to think of what else. I think that's it. So anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing Thursday, I can't believe it's Thursday already. I hope you're having an amazing Thursday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, do not have other plans. Make the most of your day. Do something fun today. Do something exciting. Start to nest. Change some stuff around your house. Do something fun. Do something also that will make yourself proud when you look back on it. You don't have to necessarily do something exciting, but do something fun. Do something that will cheer you up today. We could all use a little bit of cheering up, I think. Even if you're going to cheer somebody else up, and that's that random acts of kindness down the road that we're going to talk about. But do something also that will make yourself proud when you look back on it, whether that is, when you look back on it tomorrow, or a week from now, or 2 days from now, or 2 months from now, or 2 years, or 60 years, or 10 years, or 69 years, family friendly. And if nobody else has told you this today, just always remember that I love you. And make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single night before you go to bed, and you say, I love you, you are valuable, you are important, and you matter. And do all of your daily affirmations before you go to bed, and say to yourself, tomorrow is going to be an amazing day. It's going to be a day full of success and laughter. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day tomorrow. I have really been holding myself accountable to doing this lately, and I have to tell you, especially when I get up in the morning, it's really, like, I do my meditations and my prayers and all that other kind of stuff, but sometimes I forget to do this saying, like this kind of stuff. And I would say, since I started saying it consistently on here, I've been saying it to myself, and it really has made a huge difference. So every day, or every night before you go to bed, say, tomorrow is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day tomorrow, and tomorrow's going to be a day full of laughter and opportunity. and success. And if I get off track, then I can start my day over whenever I want. And every morning that you wake up, start your day off with your positive affirmations and whatever other spiritual stuff that you choose to do, or non-spiritual stuff. And look at yourself in the mirror and say, today is going to be an amazing day. Or just shout it out loud if you want to, you know, and say, I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day today. Today is going to be a day full of laughter and smiles and great opportunities and laughter. Laughter is really, really important. It's always important for me to see both fingers. I don't know why. Laughter is very important, and smiles, like I said. And if I get off track, I can start my day over whenever I want. And most importantly, make sure that you pass it on to other people and let them know how much they mean to you. Reach out to them, say, hey, I just want to let you know I was thinking of you today. I want to let you know how much you mean to me, and thank you for being in my life. Anybody. But for me, and I don't often say this to my friends or people in my personal life, but for me, if your mom is still alive out there, call her up for me today and just let her know how much she means to you. And even if she's somebody that makes you angry, even if you guys get in fights often, just for today, just call her up just today, you know? And I'm not talking about if you had a really cruel, horrible experience growing up at the hands of your mother. I'm talking about, you know, if you just kind of argue every once in a while or whatever, she can, you know, be, you know, guilt-tripping person, just call her up and tell her you're thinking of her today. My mom and I didn't always have the most perfect relationship in the world, but I am glad that I let her know how much she meant to me and how important she was. And I'm really happy that she let me know how important I was to her as well, you know? And I knew it without having to say it, but... or just anybody, maybe a mother figure. If it's not her, you know, maybe a mother figure in your life, like a grandmother or a foster parent or an aunt or just a really dear friend, you know? I'm so thankful for all the mother-sister types that I have in my life that have led me to who I am today. And also practice random acts of kindness, but like I always say, don't tell anyone. Just do it because it's the right thing to do. It's a nice thing to do. I think we can all, you know, benefit from putting a little bit more good kindness and positivity out there in the world, don't you? So just do it because it's the right thing to do. Don't tell anyone. Trust me, over time you will feel better by just doing these random acts of kindness and just doing them to be a good. You will feel better, trust me. The ultimate payback is you will receive the ultimate payback. At least I think so. I hope so. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh well, just put some good out there in the world. Why not? Just make the world a nicer place. I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.